kind of you doing today?
Yeah.
As usual, my name is Whitney Van Landingham, and this here is John Pair of Cellos.
That's me.
And that's his whole real name. It's on his birth certificate.
Yeah.
You can ask his mom.
That's true.
Yeah.
She will say it's John Pirrucello.
Pair of Cellos.
You want to know what my mom's last name is?
What?
Funk. Straight up.
Whoa.
Pretty cool, right?
You a funky pair of cellos?
Yeah, one time we got junk mail that combined our names and it said Funkicello. Real thing that happened. Yeah.
No.
I know. Pretty cool, right? It's like a band name.
Why don't you just change your name to that?
I like my name. I think Pirrucello is pretty cool.
Yeah, but you could be Funkicello.
I'll just start a band, or
That's
maybe when I'm a musician, my musician name will be John Funkicello.
Funkicello. Just Funkicello.
Yeah.
Dude, you can be Prince.
Yeah.
You can be the Prince of the
No,
Funkicellos.
I can't. I wish I could be.
Yeah, well, I believe in you, John.
Thank you.
I believe in you.
Maybe I can be Prince.
You can be Prince.
What do you guys think? Can I be Prince?
Could he be
Probably
Prince? Hello. Hello. So, hello, cello funk is what Lauren said. Wait, what was that noise? Did that just fall down?
I don't know. It just went, it waved.
It was
a
a
ghost.
Dude, it was the ghost of you from last week time traveling.
No spoilers, though.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
No spoiler alerts.
No spoiler alerts.
This is an alert to tell you that there will be no spoilers.
Oh, man. So how many people we got today?
We have 17 now.
17.
Whoa.
All right.
Hello, all 17 of you. We are so proud that all 17 of you are here. Please don't leave.
Yeah, don't do it.
I will cry. I have a very fragile ego. And I'm like Tinkerbell. Like, I need you to keep clapping or I'll die.
You just need
I
constant
just
validation.
need constant validation, so
All right.
please don't leave
I'll
the
just-
chat.
I'll
Yeah,
just keep
just the
clapping
whole
the whole
time.
show.
Yeah, the whole show.
It'll be good.
like last time when I couldn't stop eating the Mike and Ike's and they were rattling in the cup. It'll be like that, but better.
We don't. So we didn't bring any Mike and Ike's this week.
No,
basically.
I didn't. Well, it's because I had already asked Brett to fetch me a water and then my laptop, so I couldn't ask for a
Three
third.
is too many.
3 is too many fetches.
I could have asked though. I could have asked for the Mike and Ike's.
You could
Yeah.
have. Oh wow, man!
Yeah, we blew it.
We blew it.
Ugh. Oh, well.
And speaking of blowing it, why don't you blow your money on our Patreon? Haha, smooth segue.
Yeah.
NerdWire has a Patreon, and we would love it if you would go look at it and maybe donate to it. If you donate to our Patreon, I will buy John a sandwich. A veggie.
You heard it here first.
A veggie panini.
Yes.
That's what's
that's
gonna
great.
happen.
From where?
Oh man, I don't know. Oh, there's this really good sandwich place by my house that just opened up. It's called Uncle Af's. Don't Google that because then you'll find my address. I live inside the sandwich shop, so please don't Google it. I just moved into the sandwich shop.
Wow.
But they have just really amazing paninis and like grilled sandwiches and just like everything is good. There's this one like avocado one and it's firecracker flavored. I'm so hungry, you guys. I'm sorry.
Please sign up for the Patreon so I can get a free sandwich.
So that he can get a free sandwich because that's what I'll do.
Go visit Whitney's home in a sandwich shop.
And a sandwich.
Get a free sandwich.
Because that's truly where I live. So if you join the Patreon in addition to John getting a sandwich, you could win one of these.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, but last time John was here, I gave him one.
It's true.
And then Brett yelled at me because I'm technically not allowed to give, I don't have the authority to give these to whoever I
kept it anyways,
want.
though. I kept it.
Put it on. I can't wait to see you like put it on like the butt pocket of your like your like cropped jeans.
I should.
Yeah,
do
just
that.
like pedal pushers, and then with like a little butt patch that's just like.
I need, you know, I might need another one to put on the other.
Oh yeah,
butt
dude.
cheek.
No, 100%.
Cool.
You should just get it
I
tattooed
should sign up
on
for
your
the Patreon,
actual.
and
Yeah.
then I can have both.
No, and then you can have
Yeah.
both. Oh, so good. Such a good idea. Brett will approve.
Perfect.
Okay, wait. What's chatting about?
Oh, Lauren says she doesn't have her patch yet.
Everyone says, well, yeah, Lauren, that's because I'm making you a whole jacket. What do you want?
Oh!
Yeah. No, Lauren.
Gremlin denim?
Yes.
Heck
I
yeah.
obviously have the patch on your jacket, Lauren. Chill out. I love you, dude. You'll get it so soon.
Heck yeah, that's great.
Okay, somebody's just screaming, I want Steven
Yeah,
Universe.
don't we all, though?
So,
The movie was awesome.
oh, Donovan Wilson says you should put the patch over your butthole.
How will I poop?
How will he poop, guys? You can't, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I
That's
don't know,
just
Donovan.
a bad
Donovan
idea.
Wilson, think that one through.
Think that one through a little better
Yeah,
next
come on.
time, Dono Van Van. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Oh, that's funny. You talked to, Lauren, you talked to John Carmack about Undone, because I was talking to John Carmack about Undone, and that's cool that we both talked to him about the show.
Wow, I don't know who John Carmack is.
He's one of my friends.
Wow.
He was my roommate's boyfriend in college, and then my roommate and my boyfriend cheated on us with each other. And so now John and I are friends through shared trauma.
That's a story.
It sure is.
Holy crap.
It's a drama, it's a trauma.
That's a trauma
There just
story.
needed to be like a twin waking up from a coma, and it would have been perfect.
Hey, maybe that's yet to come.
It totally is. It's still to come.
Oh, man.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
So
see.
this
Put a
person's still
patch
the
on
same?
Pikachu. Oh my gosh, he's a detective. He's a decorated detective, okay?
Can we put it on him?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Put it on his little hat face.
Like,
I like him. Just
put
get
it
it.
right-
Just get
right
it.
there.
Maybe we can clip it with another clip from the
Yeah.
studio.
I don't know if this is gonna work. There, I did it. I did
Yeah!
it.
Oh my god.
I think it worked.
Pikachu! Wait, I'm checking your work
Yep,
in
look in there.
the guide.
Ready?
Ready?
And
And
Nailed
it
it.
sticks the landing.
Nailed it.
Cool.
Perfect.
Well, guys, so let's actually talk about some cartoons, because I know that that's why you're actually here.
Yes.
And not to watch us. God damn it, it fell off.
Oh,
and not to
that's
just
'cause I
watch
did
us
this.
put
It's my
things
fault.
on Pikachu. So the first thing that I would like us to talk about is the Emmy wins. Brett, what are you doing?
he almost walked in front of the camera. Oh, perfect.
Oh, perfect. It's a little tape. No, dude,
Perfect.
just walk right in front of the camera. There's
It was
like,
pretty funny.
There's 22 people here. They won't care. Hi. Oh, that was Brett. That's a little. No, you don't do it again, Brett. You're not the equator. You don't have to run around the whole Earth.
He's
No.
trying to rewind time
Oh my
like
God.
Superman.
We're gonna win an Emmy just because this is the first podcast live that has ever had the producer run around the camera 3 times in a row.
Gotta say.
It's basically the Bojack Horseman of live podcasting.
I am down to watch, or down to win an Emmy.
Oh yeah,
for
no.
being on this.
We're gonna
Yeah,
win an
sounds
Emmy
great.
tonight.
That's
But
really exciting.
speaking of Emmys, more like enemies, because they did not pick the ones that we wanted.
Yeah.
So it turns out that, remember about a week ago, John was not here, but he was thinking all of these things in his brain hole because he's a smart boy.
True.
And basically, we did not want The Simpsons or The Witness to win.
I don't know much about The Witness, but I didn't want The Simpsons to win.
They both won
They both did it.
Emmys
Yeah.
against all those other shows that were so much better.
So
like,
frustrating.
Okay, I'm sorry, but how do you choose a gay panic fake army man? Because the plot of the episode
I didn't even see it.
was
but
that the grandpa he starts having like flashbacks. Everyone thinks that it's from Vietnam. It turns out he was never in the actual army, but he was the model for the little green army men, toy soldiers.
And he was
so he was having
weird.
flashbacks to the photo shoot where he was the guy, and it turned out that the reason why he's been so traumatized is because the photographer leaned in and gave him a smooch. And so he ran out because he was like, gay, and like freaked out, and then he left, and then the photographer got fired. And so now now the grandpa feels remorse, so he goes and he finds the photographer to apologize to him, and then he gets to know the photographer, and it turns out that he's not a bad guy. And so he learns
not.
that gays are okays.
haven't they done this 20 times on The Simpsons?
I just don't understand why.
They did this in 1999
how
with a
is
different
that, like-
episode that also won an Emmy. Seriously.
Dude, I don't get it.
I
don't get it.
I mean, especially because the competition was so good. Like the Big Mouth, Bojack, Bob's Burgers, and the Adventure Time finale were all up against The Simpsons.
Oh my God, I forgot about the Adventure Time finale. Why didn't that win?
I would have preferred Bojack to win, but any of the other ones over The Simpsons, because I mean, The Simpsons. Let's be real,
It's
had its
dumb.
time. It's had its
It
time.
was so dumb. I already said this last week, and I know I already said it to you, but I will say it until I'm dead. The episode was just basically geared towards old white dudes.
And you know what?
Who are like, you know what, I still don't know if being gay is okay.
Yep.
And then this episode was supposed to make them go, hey, I'm an 82-year-old man, but maybe I could start liking the gay community.
And you know why
Dude,
it worked? Because those are the people who
are
are
voting. Those are the people who are voting.
They're like, what's this show about a horse giving a eulogy? I don't understand.
I don't care about this. Well, he just stands there the whole time. He just stands there.
Talking about churros?
Churros? I don't understand.
Good stuff, guys.
It's good television. Just stop it.
And so I admittedly didn't watch The Witness, but it beat Reunited, Steven Universe, the wedding episode, which is an incredible piece of television. It's so good.
Yes.
It's so good. I can't believe that they lost that. I'm very frustrated.
So hold on. We have a lot of people saying a lot of things that I really would like to acknowledge. First of all, this person said there should be a Whitney doll that would be a collector item. No, I don't want you to have a doll of me because you will fuck it, and that's not what I want. So please, no thank you, no Whitney dolls. Okay.
No dolls.
Lauren says, oh wait, no, sorry, the best helpy first. He keeps telling us that he has diarrhea.
Oh, but he was just talking about Steven Universe before.
Yeah, but now he has diarrhea.
Wow.
When you're driving in a Chevy and you're feeling kind of heavy, diarrhea. That's for you. That's for you, the best helpy.
Maybe take care of that.
Maybe take care of that. Take some Imodium.
You know what? You could probably watch on your phone.
Yeah, you can totally do that.
You don't have to do one or the other.
You don't need both hands to poop.
It's true.
Really, seriously.
Hopefully.
I mean, hey, I don't know what's wrong with you. Yeah. Maybe there's something wrong. Okay. And then he says, can I leave for a second to diarrhea? Oh, I see. So he left. That's cool.
Permission given.
Permission granted.
Yes. David Odom, you're right. Steven Universe should have won.
Steven Universe should have won.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
And then what I was going to read that Lauren said was that Lauren said that The Witness deserved it.
Oh.
Girl, argue your point. Why? It was a lot, man.
I can't say. I just think nothing should have beaten Steven Universe. That's all.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, The Witness was just like the animation was incredible, but to me, it just felt like watching A Scanner Darkly, but without Robert Downey Jr. to make things better. And I'm like, but A Scanner Darkly also sucked. So, I mean, and this one didn't even have Keanu to charm me.
It's true, no Keanu.
So I was just like, why?
Rotoscoped, like the show we're going to talk about today, Undone.
Yes.
Which is exciting.
Lauren says that she likes how trippy it was.
That's true.
Okay,
wow,
it was
says,
pretty trippy.
Hi, ho, ho, hi.
Dibby animates.
Dibby,
you can relax. We see you.
Dibby, you gotta chill.
Gotta chill. And then Paul says, "Hey, I like A Scanner Darkly. I like it too. It's one of those. Fine. It's one of those like movies where I'm like, oh, I know that a lot of people don't like this, and I know that it's bad, but I still watch it.
I want to watch it again, especially after watching Undone.
I watched it the other day. Actually.
Oh, you did? Really?
No, I seriously
nice.
did. Before Undone even came out, I was sewing, and so I was just like, I'm just gonna throw on something random while I'm sewing, and I put on A Scanner Darkly because it was on Amazon.
Have you seen Waking Life?
No.
Oh, that's the other one Linklater did that's also rotoscoped that he did before Scanner Darkly. I think people like that one better.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
that
seen
probably
them both,
makes
but I was
sense
in
why
high
I
school.
haven't heard of it. I'm a trash person. I like trash.
Yeah, well, maybe it's trash.
Oh, wait, look, did you see my shirt? Garbage of the damned.
Amazing.
Oh, wait, can you guys see it, or am I leaning back right in front of my computer?
Yeah,
wait, look at it.
Here it comes.
Oh, yeah, look. Yeah, fully just
Here, I'll show off my shirt, too. It's Futurama plus Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, time travel, which kind of leads into Undone. We'll talk about that soon.
We're wearing shirts.
Yes.
Cool.
What about you guys at home? You wearing shirts? Let us know in the comments.
Hope so. Let us know.
Yeah.
Okay. Whitney, have you ever seen Camp Lazlo? I have. I did a video on it. You can go Google that.
Go watch that video, y'all. Check it out. I've never done a video on it.
I had to watch A Scanner Darkly in university for a bit, and I wasn't a fan, but I do love rotoscopes.
Love those rotoscopes.
Gotta love rotoscopes.
Did you watch Undone, Lauren?
Did you? Because she just said she did.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that was the guy. Yeah, dude, Undone was so good. So good. And maybe we should talk about that now.
Yeah.
Good segue. We're so good at segues today.
We've
been coming up with really great segues.
It's true.
Super smooth and transitional.
We should write them down and sell segues.
We should sell segues, and then Paul Blart Mall Cop will show up, and he'll be so disappointed that it's not the segue that he wanted.
Maybe we'll finally get Paul Blart 3, though.
Oh, yeah, dude. No,
finally.
I've been writing the screenplay for a really long time. Did I tell you that?
I would love to read it.
Brett and I have been, we've only technically outlined it, but we've been working on we want to do a Rick and Morty spec script of an episode where they go to Paul Blart Mall Cop Land, and it's Paul Blart, but in every culture setting. So it's like Indiana Blart in the Kingdom of the Crystal Mall Cops, and like how I met your mall cop,
running away
from
the boulder on a Segway.
Yes,
Beautiful.
exactly.
I want to watch that.
So that's the episode.
Sounds great.
That's the spec script I've been writing in my brain.
Perfect.
And not on paper.
You should write it on paper.
I outlined it. I know.
After you do it in your brain, write it on paper.
Write it on paper.
That's my advice.
That's good. Those are some good rules. Those are some fine dang
I'm a good writer.
rules.
I know how to do it. You have to put it on paper.
You have to put it on paper. And sometimes you need a pen. Sometimes you need a typewriter.
Yeah.
Never
but never
laptop.
a computer. No, always pen or typewriter. Or like a quill and ink.
Quill and ink.
All right, so if we want to start talking about Undone, we're going to do no spoilers, right?
No spoilers first. So first we'll talk about the show and just kind of give you like a little baby sweet overview, and then maybe you can see if you want to watch it.
You should.
And then if you don't, we'll kill you. We'll come to your house and we'll murder you.
Guaranteed.
With a drone. Even though
we'll come to your house
with a drone. And even though we'll be there, we're going to have the drone.
Yeah, we're going to use the drone, but you'll see us
controlling the drone as you die. So, okay.
So you got to watch the show.
I loved Undone. Do you wanna try to give it a quick little review?
Yeah.
And then
a quick little review.
It's so hard.
Dude, I wrote.
Did you see my video that I did on it?
I didn't want to watch it because I wanted to talk fresh about it with you. But I still haven't put out my review because it ended up being so long that I am not done editing it.
I'm not joking. I tried to make the the recap super short, and I used my formula from the Infinity Train video that I wrote, and I was like, oh cool, this was like 4 paragraphs max recapping, and then the rest is cool, dope.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. I tried so hard. I made it as bare bones as humanly possible, and it was not.
It's like the show doesn't work that well with just the bare bones information because it's so dense. There's so much happening. And like usually for my reviews, I do recap and like kind of just talk about the show as I go. But there's so much vital information that the recap just there's so much to talk about. It's crazy.
I also know that we're professionals, and I'm literally having the hardest time trying to think of a way to review it without giving away spoilers.
I know.
Right?
I know.
It's so hard, but it's a really good show. Okay, so
let's just talk about the
try.
technical aspects that we like, maybe. Or the actors or the characters. I mean, how do we do it without spoiling it?
I'm gonna try. Okay, cool. Let me try, and then you try.
Okay,
we'll each take a stab at it, and then if neither of us, if it doesn't work, we'll just be like, Brett, how do we sum this up? Okay, I'm sorry. This is like.
John's got a good idea.
I know John has a good idea.
About themes, about why people should watch this.
I understand, but I want to give a brief summary, like a brief history of time by Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
But it's going to be about as long as that.
Should we do?
So
this is as far as you can go.
First 2 episodes.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay,
honestly,
that's fine.
There's so much. Honestly, I got to go to a panel for this show
at
Paley
did?
Fest, and I got so much good inside info
Oh
that
my
I've got a lot to talk
God.
about.
You
from
actually
the technical
do.
Side of things.
You really do.
I love the show. I was excited about this show from the description of the show that came out like a year ago.
Oh
before there was a
God.
frame. Before, I was like, oh, it's the creator of Bojack and my favorite writer from Bojack on a show about that's the description of the show is that the main character Alma gets in a car crash and then finds that when she wakes up, she has a new relationship with time. That was all they wrote about the show. And I was like, this is going to be my favorite thing.
Oh my God,
it pretty much is my favorite thing.
Dude,
really
I watched it all in one go. It took me 5 hours to knock all of it out.
Dude, it's
it was
pretty
so
quick,
fast. It was like the fast. I just woke up. I woke up real early on a Friday morning, and it had dropped at midnight. And I got my coffee and my pug, and I was like, well, I guess I'm just gonna watch a cartoon. It was so quick and great. But okay, so yes, that is a very brief way of explaining it. She has a new relationship with time after she wakes up from a coma.
A coma from a car accident. Yeah.
And so with that time comes family complications.
Yes.
And there may also be underlying medical issues at play.
Mm-hmm. and it's kind of got a like a mystery aspect
Yeah,
to it as well.
there is. There's like a true crime investigation,
Yes,
forensic
exactly.
files aspect to it, which I love.
Me too.
You know I'm a big crime fan.
Yeah,
so
you like
I like
learning
murders
about crimes and doing crimes.
And doing crimes. Whitney Van Lanningham, criminal. Crimes. I just doing crimes all day.
Yeah, welcome to Crime Wire.
Welcome to Crime Wire. Okay, and then Lauren just goes, it's about a girl that sees her dead dad. Done. Yeah, but what? There's also time travel, Lauren. Come on.
Yeah.
You can't just
Come
dead
on.
dad it.
All right, there's so much. Daddy issues with time travel. That's pretty good.
Daddy
That's a
issues
pretty-
with time
that's a pretty good
travel.
description,
Oh my
actually.
God, wait, that is
Forward description,
hilarious.
yeah.
Forward description. Daddy issues with time travel.
Yeah, it's really
Perfect.
good.
No, that's
It's really
great.
good.
I love that so much.
So I got to go to the Paley Fest.
tell me about
the
this.
Paley Fest
That sounds so
preview.
interesting.
It was like a week in advance, which was great. We got to watch the first 2 episodes, and then we got a panel, and it was Kate Purdy and Raphael Bob Waxberg and the director, what's his name, Hisco Holsing, and then 3 of the cast members.
That
It
is
was-
a name I would
it's a great
never be
name.
able to
He's-
remember.
he's
That
like-
is a dope name.
He's like from Amsterdam. He's really cool.
Hisco
Yeah,
Holsing?
and he was a part of the team.
Damn.
He was the director of every episode, but he was also part of the team and company that did all the rotoscoping.
Yeah.
So my favorite thing about the animation of the show, aside from it being rotoscoped, which is incredible, every background you see in the show, everyone is a real oil painting. We got to look at them. They're
No
incredible.
way.
Everyone. It's a real oil painting. So like every time you see a background in the show, somebody
No
actually painted
way.
it with oil, and then they used it as the background shots for the show. So when they shot the show, they were just in a room in a studio, and they like just used there was no real sets other than just having like tables and chairs that are very basic,
yeah.
and then they put them into all of these environments that are real oil paintings, which is crazy.
That is so cool.
I know, like down to
Oh my
every
God.
aspect of the show is so
And I
unique
never
and
would have known that just from like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an expert on oil paintings or, medieval art of any kind. But yeah, I guess I would have never guessed that those were oil paintings.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
It's incredible, and there's so much detail with them. They're so pretty. I'm really happy they did something like that, and it really helped. And they like blended it seamlessly with the rotoscope
Yes.
animation too.
Oh my
which
gosh,
is so
yeah.
cool.
It wasn't like, the whole thing was just so smooth and seamless that after a while you kind of forget that you're watching something that's animated.
Right, yeah.
Which is so cool. It's
Yeah.
the coolest feeling to get so lost and sucked up into something that you're like, shit, this is a cartoon.
Yeah.
That's why they can do that. That's
Totally.
why that thing just happened.
I really liked that they opted for rotoscoping because it makes it feel real and relatable, because you can see like what it would look like if it were real life.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, you're seeing real people's expressions. You're seeing real people's like blocking and movements, and like it's filmed that way.
Yeah.
But then you add the layer of animation on top, and then all of the there's like a spoil, this is not a huge spoiler, but it's like there's trippy aspects to the show.
Yeah.
There's like sort of mind-bending, world-bending aspects to the show. And they talked about how what they really wanted to do with that was they sort of like elevate the baseline of what the show looks like, so that when you add in the trippy nature of the show, you're not looking at it being like, oh, here comes the fake part. It's like, oh, it all blends
Yeah.
seamlessly. Because if it were filmed live action and they used CGI to do that,
Yeah.
your mind would just be like, oh, here's all the CGI.
Yeah, here's all the dumb
But because
stuff.
it all is animated, then all the crazy trippy stuff is like, oh, that's just part of this world. That's what this is. And I think that worked really well. That's one of my favorite things about the show.
Dude, that is so cool. I never would have known that. That
Yeah.
is awesome. Oh
It's
my
so
gosh.
cool.
That sounds like such a fun panel to have gone to.
I'm so glad I went to it. I was.
What else did you learn?
Oh gosh, so much. Raphael and Kate had a lot to talk about the show, and I mean, one of the cool things about the show is it's kind of like when you're done with it, it's like, oh, you can it's left up to interpretation what exactly is happening.
No, it is, and that's something that I also really enjoyed about this. And I also feel like, because obviously the first thing I did when I finished was, oh my God, there has to be a season 2.
Right.
And so I immediately looked it up, and it was like, Amazon has not announced anything. Maybe it's not because I remember when Fleabag got really, really popular, I didn't at first I thought, oh, has this show just been out for like years and I just never heard of it? And then it was like, oh no, they just ordered 2 seasons up front.
Oh,
and
I didn't know
so
that.
they didn't come out that far apart from each other.
Oh, I see.
So it wasn't like a thing where it was like, and then like 2 years
Right.
later, like
They like filmed them all.
yeah,
and
they
were
filmed
like,
them
"Okay,
all,
there."
and then they were like, and release.
Nice.
So I was like, oh my God, they have to have done this with this one, and there's no announcement. But I also feel like with the ending, the way that it did end, it left it so that you could have a season 2, or not.
Or not. It
Or
could-
totally
that's-
not.
I
If
think
it
it's a
ended
good ending.
there, it's so good. It's so great.
And it's such a good ending to like allow the show to continue to just be talked about forever and like potentially debated forever. Like, and one of my favorite quotes from the panel was Raphael Bob Waxberg said, what they really wanted from the show was they wanted 2 different people to be able to walk away from the show and have a feeling about what they both know to be true about the show that are vastly different. Like they wanted 2 people to be able to like, I know this show is about this, and those 2 things are totally different.
Are gonna be
but
totally
But
different.
people like, but that's how people interpret it and how it affects people and how people are able to like kind of just process it. So it's and honestly, like I watched it twice. And
You watched it twice?
yeah, because I went to the panel,
didn't
so I
have
did two. I
time.
did the 2 episodes
Yeah.
that week, and then it dropped early on Thursday night, and I was like, oh, I guess I'll just watch another one, and I ended up staying up till 2:30 a.m. finishing it, and then I rewatched it yesterday to write my review. I always rewatch as I write my reviews.
See, that was the problem with my review, is that I wanted more time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do some rewatches because I was like, ah!
Wanted more time, kind of like Alma, huh?
Kind of like
Kinda
Alma,
like Alma.
wanted more time. But then like I literally like I just had to write it as fast as I
Yeah.
could, get here, shoot it, get it up.
It's so hard.
And it's so hard trying to be first and also do as thorough of a job as
Yes,
you want.
it's very
And at
difficult.
some point, like with these videos, I don't know about you, but like at some point, I'm just like, all right, baby bird, you've got to leave the nest whether
Yeah,
I'm ready for
exactly.
you to
I'm
or
like, yeah.
not. Like I get it, we just got to get you out here.
Sometimes I find that like right after I post it, or if I like while I'm editing, or even when I watch it right after I post a video, I'll think of something I should have put in there. I'll be like, oh, should have talked about this for 4 minutes, and did not.
And
But,
didn't
yeah.
at all. Not even a little
wow.
bit. Okay, somebody says, where's Kris? Kris is not here today
where's
because she's taken the day off with her husband.
That sounds
She
nice.
deserves a little day off. She
Ooh,
works
lucky
so
Kris.
much and she
Lucky
does so much
Kris.
all the time. So she's taken the day to herself. So that's why John's here.
Hey, I'm
Hi.
John.
Hi.
Nerdwire wants to know, do we want to gush about the cast?
Do we? Do we?
They're
We sure
great.
do.
Oh, they're so good.
Dude, so I never saw Alita Battle Angel.
I didn't
but
see it either.
I heard,
should probably see it.
I should probably
I've
see
heard
it
it's,
too.
I've heard it's entertaining. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because the reason I didn't see it was because I had heard from friends that it like who had seen it that it like they were like, it's fine. But now I feel like I really want to see it because
Yeah.
I loved that actress.
It also, the technology and like animation of that movie interested me a lot too. I don't know why I haven't seen it. I should probably see it.
Yeah.
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 Yep, it's on the list.
Yeah.
It's on the list.
Put it on the list,
Speaking
yeah.
of Alita, Rosa Salazar is
Yes.
Alma, the main character of the show, and she is really awesome in this show.
She is so amazing.
Yeah, she's got such a nuance to her performance, and she's like, you can really, I feel like there's so much weight behind everything she says in the show,
Oh,
even when you
yeah.
first meet her, like before you know anything about her, just like everything she says, you're like, oh, she's been through some stuff. Like,
She's seen some shit.
yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Oh, she's so great. She was also hilarious on the panel, by the way. She was just very funny the whole time.
Oh, that's awesome. I love hearing when people are like really cool and,
Yes.
and awesome. Because, okay, something that disappointed me a little bit was I went to an Adventure Time panel when the finale came out,
Mm-hmm.
and the girl who played Marceline wasn't like friendly or fun, and she was acting like she didn't want to be there, and I was like, I know you don't want to be here because you've been to 100 of these, but like,
That's so sad.
yeah, it's my favorite. Just be nice.
what a bummer.
But like,
You never know.
then
Maybe she's just having a
again,
bad
she's probably
day.
just
You
having a
never
bad
know. You
day.
never
And
know.
honestly,
You
it's
can't-
one of those things where like I'm so selfish because I'm like,
Like,
why weren't
why weren't
you
you
having
cool
a good
for
time?
me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why weren't you having a good time with me?
Yeah, I was there.
I
You
was
should have been
there. You
having
should
a
have had
good
the best time. No, she has her own life. I totally respect her. I'm sure she's great in real life. But I was like, man. So I love it when people are on panels and they like actually like are excited.
Yeah,
That's
they
just
had so much fun.
It just makes me feel better about it because then I feel less selfish.
Totally.
When somebody actually wants to be there. I don't know.
So the cast, as we said, is incredible. Also, playing her father is Bob Odenkirk, who is just amazing. He's a legend. He's like a comedy legend and then became a dramatic like powerhouse who will probably win Emmys for Better Call Saul eventually, right?
Yeah. I mean, sure.
Yeah.
I loved the part in the beginning. The thing that just solidified him to me as her dad was when they were having that conversation and he just goes, "You gonna finish that grilled cheese?" And he just like reaches and takes like one bite and then puts it back.
He,
and I was like,
like,
and he was just like, and then he like puts it, and I was just like, that is such like a dad move.
Totally.
And so like even just like little things like that, like in the script and like the way that they performed it, it was just so cool.
And I want to talk more about that when we get back into spoiler territory, because like there's things about how she interacted with her dad in those sequences that like, I got thoughts. I got some thoughts.
I got some thoughts too.
Yeah, for sure.
We have like a lot of thoughts. And actually, hey Brett, it's 3:30. Should we skip over to spoilers?
Right. If you want to, yeah.
Can we start
Lauren
spoiling?
wants us to get into spoilers.
Yes, let's get into some spoilers. Yes. Okay.
Should we just start with like what do you think happens? What do you think? Yeah.
Okay, so spoilers.
Spoilers, everyone. Spoilers.
So, do you want to talk like ending theories, or do you want to talk like, do you think she is just mentally ill, a little of both, or solely a time traveler?
Let's start with that.
Let's start with that question.
Establish what the ending is for people.
Sure.
Oh yeah, no, okay, sure. Sorry, Brett's telling us we're doing our jobs bad.
Sorry.
This show, it's a hard one to talk about, honestly, and like, if we seem like, oh God, we don't know what we're doing, it's only because of this show it's very hard to explain.
Very dense.
And it's a lot.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the ending of Undone. So spoilers, but she basically has this moment where she and her father travel back to the night that he died, Halloween night, when she was like 10. Yeah. And they travel back to that night. And instead of him like going, first
there's a whole lot of
first
stuff
she
that
goes,
happens,
so first she goes with him, like they go together with him.
They
Sorry,
go to the
I
lab. There's like basically the whole thing we learn over the season is that someone broke into his lab that night and he doesn't remember anything after going there, and then he died in a car crash.
And he thinks that he was murdered.
Yeah.
So the whole time he's begging Alma to help solve his murder because he truly believes that somebody must have been trying to kill him to get to his formula for time travel.
Right, and that she could go back in time with her new powers and change the past, basically.
And basically change it so that he doesn't die, or so that if they find the killer, they can do something about it then. But unfortunately, what it turns out happened is that the person who broke into the lab was Alma's mom, and she had found out that the dad was conducting experiments on Alma.
Without her permission or consent.
Just like straight up scientific. It's like, maybe don't do that.
Maybe
like use someone else's kid at least. Like kidnap someone. I don't know. Just kidding. Please don't ever kidnap anyone, you guys. That was a joke. Please don't do that. Please don't commit any crimes. But yeah, and so it turns out that she broke into the lab and she basically told him, "You're never going to see the girls again.
Yeah, don't ever come home."
Don't ever come home. And then he finds out as well, like he had found out earlier, that the research grant was being taken away from him because they felt like his research was unfounded because he was doing all this stuff that had to do with large ventricles in the brain.
Yeah, and then he was
Do you see how hard this is, you guys? I know, I'm trying to make it short, and it's like, but then we have to, God damn it,
And he was
I'm
like
so
basically
sorry.
experimenting scientifically, in addition to the scientific experimentations with the like potential brain ventricle thing, he was experimenting with like shaman rituals. And like his research assistant drops that they've been like stealing ancient artifacts to do those rituals with.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Which is super, that's like some Indiana Jones, but like not, because Indiana Jones would go, it belongs in a museum.
Exactly.
But like, so it's basically like a Nick Cage stealing the Declaration of Independence. Well, I'm stealing it, but it's for science.
Yeah, it's
well,
for
I'm
a good
stealing
reason.
It's for a good reason, but I still am gonna do this horrible crime thing.
Yeah. And then he takes Farnaz home, or she says she's going to report him, and she's going to shut down like all of
the
their
whole
research.
operation and everything.
Yeah.
And he offers to drive her home so that they can talk about it. She agrees, and then on the drive, he decides to, what's it called? What's that movie? The one where the two old women drive off the cliff. Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
He decides to Thelma and Louise them off of a ravine.
Like, murder-suicide? Like,
No,
I don't know. What do you think?
Yes, he murder-suicides
yeah.
them, but yeah, it's Thelma and Louise. So he murder-suicides them, they both die, and it turns out that was why he couldn't go back to that night, because the trauma was actually that he had killed himself. He was not murdered.
If that was the trauma. Or if it's just a manifestation of Alma's subconscious, it's because she didn't know what happened after that moment. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Which begs the question, how does she know any of this stuff? There's so many things to talk about.
There's so many things to talk about, you guys. Yeah, because that's one theory, but also, what if it's true?
Right.
What if she can time travel? And so what if her dad really didn't know what happened to him?
Right, exactly.
Because he was too freaked out.
And
oh my God, this show is crazy.
Even despite learning that her dad killed himself and his research assistant, she is like, no, you're different now. We can go back and change this and stop this from ever happening.
Yeah.
And so then they go back to the moment that he gets the phone call that leads him to the lab and leads to the rest of the events of the night. And basically you see the future version of her dad walk into his past body. He gets the phone call and he doesn't pick it up, and he just keeps trick-or-treating. And then she wakes up, and it turns out she had been passed out on the floor from jumping into a mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that happened.
You know, tight.
Yeah, so they really keep it vague, because they show all of these events, and she always learns new information. That's like, how could she have learned this if this was all in her head? But then they also always bring it back to you're going through some mental problems here.
Okay, so there's two aspects to that. So can we talk about that for a second? About how she knows things.
Yes.
So two theories, my two theories about that are, one, because she's a time traveler.
Right.
So she knows.
Right.
Or two, so something that is a huge, the episode actually said this at the end when they were listing the symptoms of schizophrenia, but one of the things that a lot of schizophrenic people really do experience is, in addition to the voices and the hallucinations and other stuff like that, they also believe that they have, sometimes they believe that they have special powers. Sometimes they believe that they can read your mind,
right.
that they know what you're thinking, that they can use their mind to influence you. And so, for example, when they're talking to the detective woman at the police station, they go in, and something that I thought was so interesting, because I feel like they did this every time it was questioned, where they kind of offered another explanation for it. So then Sam, the boyfriend, goes, wow, you got all that just from looking at her screensaver? And it's like, well, if you believe that she's a time traveler, no, she read that woman's mind. She saw the past. She experienced her memories, and that's why she knows that. But if she is mentally ill, that's an explanation for how she knew that.
And even if she is, if you pause that frame and you look at the screensaver and everything that's on her desk, it would still take kind of a massive amount of intuition for her to determine that.
For her to pull that out of
but
nowhere.
the puzzle pieces are there. But the fact that she was she looked and then got it and was I know what happened. Because if you look at them, it's it's a family photo of this woman and her family when she was a child, and she's got her younger sister there. And then there's a family photo of them when she's older and her sister isn't there. And then there's a photo on the desk that is her and her sister, and it's got her sister's name on it. So when I was rewatching it, I was like, but how did she know her name? And then if you look closely, it's on that as well. So I'm like, every time with that scene, I was like, what information couldn't she have learned from this? And so I guess that begs the question, because there's other parts in the show where she learns
that was
things.
just one example,
Right. But there's some things that her father shows her, one of his she shows him one of his what he teaches at school. He's a professor.
Yes.
And so shows him one of his talks that he gives on quantum theory or something.
String
and
theory.
Then when they go back and talks to Farnaz about their research and everything, and looking at Shaman's brains, and it's well, how could you have gained all this information? How could you have seen this?
Especially because when all of that stuff was happening, she was 8 years old or whatever.
Exactly.
She was a little kid, And even then, like, I know that children are obviously like incredibly perceptive, way more perceptive than we as adults give them credit for. But how could she have picked up on her father having an emotional affair with his research assistant?
Right.
Because he wasn't even cheating. So it's not
Right.
like she caught him sneaking out one night.
Well,
like,
I mean, we do
you
also
know?
then learn that he was experimenting on her. Though. So we know that when she was that age, she maybe could have
So
heard
maybe
things.
she could have
And-
heard things, and that's how she picked up on that.
And you want to know how one evidence for this, I think, is one of the things they do in the show is they introduce a guy named Charles Vanderhorn, who works for this company that gives
Oh,
them
yeah,
the grant.
right.
So early on in the thing, she thinks his name is Charlie Vanderhorn with a
Right.
V.
Yes.
And in her head, when she's talking to her dad, he says Vanderhorn as well.
Right.
So, but if he were really her dad, like if it were the real time traveling version of her dad, he would have said Vanderhorn because
Yeah,
he
he would
knows
have
it's
known.
Vanderhorn.
Yeah, he would have
So
known
maybe
the
when she was a
name.
kid, she heard the name and was like Charlie Vanderhorn, and like
yeah.
just I don't know,
No,
like
for sure.
And I also think that maybe some of this information, because we know that she took all of the stuff from her mom's attic and has been looking and poring over documents, and we didn't necessarily get to look at all the documents.
Yeah, so she could have come across stuff there too.
And we know that
I was
Sam was
thinking about
watching
that
videos
as well.
of
Yeah.
like that he took of himself doing lots of different things.
Oh, yeah,
So like
for
we
sure.
don't know how much of that she watched, and maybe she watched and forgot that she watched if she is mentally ill, and then like thought that she is just conjuring this information in her mind. But yeah, the one that I
Or
struggle
maybe
with.
it's like a Fight Club Tyler Durden thing.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt invaded her body while she was sleeping. You
That
know?
was definitely it.
That was 100%
Brad
what was
Pitt's in season
happening.
2.
Brad Pitt, season 2
I would
of
agree with that,
Undone,
actually.
starring as Tyler Durden. No, they just combine Fight Club with this show now, and it's just like Edward Norton being like, "Girl, I get you, I feel you."
Right.
Yeah.
The one that like I keep going back to that I'm just like I don't know how you learned what happened that night was how did she learn that her mom broke in to the lab? How did she learn that?
Right.
How did she know? Her mom confirmed it. So like her mom like confirmed to her like, yeah, I did break in. And she also, by the way, her mom reveals that her dad had been diagnosed with schizophrenia before he started going through all this stuff. So like ultimately the show could be about mental illness. Like that could be what it's about. But it also could definitely be about time travel.
And actually, that's like one of my favorite like tropes nowadays. It's something that's like they're putting more and more, like making more and more shows about this. Where we have like Legion, we have Maniac, now we have Undone.
Right.
Stuff like that where, as a person who has very severe depression and anxiety, I have always thought, well, what if I'm not sick? What if I just like have superpowers and one day I'm gonna wake up and there's gonna be something good about all this?
So all my anxiety is just manifesting superpowers?
Dude,
is
no
that what's
joke.
happening?
For example, no joke, I got hit by a semi-truck when I was living in New York.
Holy crap.
I got full on hit by a semi-truck and I didn't break a single bone.
Dude.
No
maybe
joke.
You're a superhero.
Maybe I'm a superhero. I really, so I've thought that so many times, like, oh, I wish that I could turn this thing about myself that I hate into something powerful.
Totally.
And so it's like, and I mean, I guess that's all across the superhero genre, but this is so specific, and that's why I think that these shows are so special to so many people, because everyone's got a little something wrong with their brain. Everyone's got a little baby chemical imbalance of some kind, and I think that it just really helps, like, having shows like this that handle it in a really sensitive and intelligent way.
Totally.
And that make you feel seen.
Yeah, and even though it's like adding the supernatural element to it, it doesn't feel like it's making light of anything.
Oh, no.
Not at all.
No,
It's
no,
like, which
not
is
at
one of my
all.
favorite things about it. It's
yeah.
really well balanced in how it deals with these things. And it like really shows the effects of mental illness on like your loved ones in the world
and the
around
family.
you.
And
Yeah.
also it shows how the way your loved ones treat you can affect you when you already have that chemical imbalance, that's something wrong. And then the way that your family, your friends, your boyfriend, whatever is treating you, that can affect your mental illness as well. And something, that I thought they actually did a really great job of was finally having Alma realize that her dad was being really selfish in what
Yes.
he was asking her to do.
Even though she still asked him to like go back and change everything, like
Yeah.
that last scene in the memory of the lab, she was
Right.
just like, dude, you're kind of kind of an ass. Like,
yeah,
what the
like,
heck? Yeah.
dude, you've been forcing me to do this, like,
Yeah.
apparently since I was, like, a little kid,
Yeah,
like,
it's messed up.
leave it alone. Yeah, and I just thought that was so important because I feel like that was kind of her really letting go of the idea that because when you're that age, and especially if her dad died when she was that young, he's solidified in her mind as a superhero.
And
he's solidified as her daddy, the guy who can like defend her from anything, and he's so funny, and he can protect her, and he makes her feel good, and when she's fighting with her sister, he knows how to make her laugh, and you know, like, so she still sees him that way. And especially because he died, he's frozen in her memory as that forever.
And I think that is maybe evidence that it is mental illness, because when you look at the subconscious version of her dad who was talking to her the whole time, it seems like every time you see him, his actions or what he's doing in those moments can kind of be attributed to some sort of memory of him.
Right.
Like the one thing, it seems like the thing that triggered her when she had this accident was seeing him appear on the side of the road when he's smoking.
When he's smoking,
and he was smoking just like the
exactly.
photo she found of him.
Yes.
And she had never seen him smoking before until she found that photo. And then when she wakes up from the hospital in the second episode, he's sitting there holding a newspaper. And when you go flash back to the dream she's having in the coma, he's reading the newspaper.
He's reading the newspaper
exactly.
on the chair,
and
yeah.
even down to like the grilled cheese. Like we don't necessarily see him eating a grilled cheese, but when he's playing piano, he's got the toast.
He's got the toast.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. No, and I loved all those little details that made you, because you have to question it.
Yes.
You can't,
Yeah.
it's unavoidable. You absolutely can't watch this and be like, oh no, they're just time travelers.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
oh no, they're just schizophrenic. Like, no, like I think it's
Maybe
a little both.
I mean, and that's the idea I keep getting back to, like thinking about is like the parable I always think about is like if everyone in the world as we knew it was blind, like the world we knew it was blind, but there was one person who could see, and then they described the world to the blind people, it would sound nuts. They would sound nuts.
Oh,
they would be like, what are you talking about?
What
this
are you
is
talking
crazy.
about?
You need help.
Yeah.
This is
what
not
is wrong
real.
with you?
So,
What's a bird, you
like,
idiot? What do you mean it can fly?
Right.
I'm on the ground.
What if people can experience other senses or something like that? What if, and then like,
Honestly.
how would it be perceived as mental illness? It probably would. Because it'd be like, oh, what you're saying doesn't make sense to me because I can't perceive or understand that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, something kind of like that with my mental illness diagnosis. I had a doctor tell me one time that I have extra feelings. So sometimes when I get upset about something, it's one of my extra feelings that are getting hurt, but somebody who's not depressed might not have those extra feelings, and they might be able to get past it or not think it's a big deal. Or might not even know that they're hurting my feelings, because to them that would never occur to them, but to me it's real and I'm upset.
I wonder if I have extra feelings.
I have extra feelings, I really do.
Yeah.
And my doctor told me that when she explained it to me like that, I was like, oh, I get it now, because this is a part of my reality that is real to me.
Totally.
But it might not be to Joe Schmo over here.
Yeah.
He might have experienced something different.
Totally.
And so even just like knowing that little thing about my life, because I don't hallucinate or hear voices that I know of.
Yeah.
Geez, maybe I'm a voice.
I'm not here.
John's not here. It's just me hosting this live podcast with my fake friend. But yeah, even though like I don't have anything nearly as hardcore as the schizophrenia that Alma has in this, of course, but I just, even being able to like relate to those little things, just like knowing that that's kind of how it is.
Right.
And sometimes like when you are mentally ill, you don't know that the things that you're saying aren't real, and you truly believe them.
Totally.
And there's no way for you to differentiate between the truth and what other people are experiencing.
Yes.
And I thought, gosh, so smart.
That was one of the things I liked in how they, how they represented after she went back in time and like changed the past.
Yes.
And she wakes up in the mirror and like David Diggs' character is like, "You're fired. You can't work here
Oh,
anymore."
yeah.
You're like, to me it was really interesting that she was the most unhinged even after that. It was like she's like, I did it, and then it was worse than ever, because like he's just like, "Look, what's going on?" And she's like, "Look, I know that looked crazy to you." So like even she knows like that looked crazy to you, but I promise it's like a real thing.
It's just time travel.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
It's just time travel.
It's
I just went
okay.
back in
It's
time
just a
and
time
saved my
travel
dad,
thing.
and I need to go to a pyramid in Mexico so that I can realign the timelines. And it's
Yeah.
like that is so logical to her,
sounds so
and
logical.
she
It
knows
sounds
it
so
sounds
real.
illogical to everyone else,
Right.
but she still believes it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And so that's one of those things where like I felt like those were like some real moments of like, okay, this is mental illness, because when she goes back home and her mom and Sam try to do the intervention and she like is so manipulative, she like hugs her mom and then steals the keys out of her mom's purse. And I was just like, okay, this is peak somebody who is on a downward spiral.
For sure.
You wouldn't act that desperate if you weren't. If that's not how you felt, you wouldn't be so desperate as to steal a car and drive all the way to Mexico to an ancient ruin site to save your dead time travel dad.
Who's gonna walk out of the cave in a white robe.
In a white robe, just like Lazarus, you know? Just like, so, oh yeah, and hey, let's talk about this too. Even so, one of the things again that led me to, oh no, this is partially a mental illness thing, and partially her dad being just in her subconscious, was how they both kept insisting throughout the entire show, once we do this, everything will be fixed. And every bad thing that I've ever done in my whole life will go away, because the only reason I've ever done bad things is because of this moment.
Because of this moment. And that's one of my favorite things about the show. It's so well written. Like in the very first episode, when she freaks out at her sister Becca before going and getting in the car accident, the one thing she says is like we can't be happy, we're broken.
We're broken people. And her sister's like, I'm not. I don't know what you mean. And it just like I love how specific the feeling was that they wrote into that, and how familiar it is to like to want to pin your whole life on just one day or on just one thing and say, if I could just go back to that one thing, everything in my life would be better.
If I didn't twist my ankle in the state high school football game, I would have gone pro.
I would have gone pro. Yeah, no, seriously. And it's like, I think everybody can relate to that, because I think everybody's felt like that at least once.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and just like, that's such a familiar feeling, but it's not realistic, because, okay, let's talk about what would happen. Let's just say it is time travel, her dad comes back. Awesome, cool, great. So he is still not, the mom is still gonna know that he was experimenting on her. He's still gonna leave, like she's still gonna leave him if he comes back. And so then we have to talk about if the timelines pick up from now, or if they really do line up and they start over from when she's 8 years old.
Yeah, does it like just all of a sudden create a past history that she just doesn't even know anymore or recognize?
Right,
how would it work?
So how would that work? And then you think about like, okay, let's just pretend that he just poofs back and he's like, look, this is my research. Oh my gosh, look, I was dead 10 years ago and now I'm alive, and hey, I'm a scientist, fund me. Okay, you'd still go to jail for that murder-suicide. You didn't bring Fernaz back. She's still dead.
Oh, man.
So it's like, what do you even think would happen if you came back? What could possibly even, okay, so he comes back the night that she's 8 years old, and that's where he shows up in the timeline. Like I said, the mom's still gonna leave. He's still gonna have the grant gone away, the money's going to be gone.
I guess you could argue though that like knowing what he knows, he went back into his former body, knowing all of that information, maybe he could change enough. You know what I mean? Like she went and tore up the lab, and then the subsequent fight and his like inability to admit his wrongdoing.
But she was tearing up the lab, that's why he got the phone call. So she was already dead set on, you were experimenting on my kid. You need, like, F off, I want my daughter, where's my daughter? She was already like that. So how would
But she also
his
clearly
knowledge,
knew about this
before. But like what, he's just gonna buy her some flowers from Trader Joe's and be like,
No,
sorry,
I mean, I think he would have
honey.
to be like, I'm gonna stop doing the experiments, I'm gonna get help. Like, it would have to be like a bunch of stuff.
Well,
you know what I mean?
but also like, I promise I will never experiment on our 8-year-old again, even though I'd still divorce that guy. I don't think I'd stay in that marriage, to be honest.
I think Trisha's right though. If Dad came back, Farnaz would also be alive because the crash wouldn't have happened. So that's
fine.
True. That's true.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though, is like if he came back that night when she's like a child and stuff, like if that's when he came back, but if when he comes back out of the cave, if he shows up in the right now, and it's just like, oh hey, I'm alive.
Yeah, what happened?
Then what happened? Then I don't know if Farnaz would still be alive.
So what do you think? Do you think he walked out of the cave?
Yes, okay, so now it's time for that conversation. Oh my God! Do you think he walked out of the cave?
I think she saw him walk out of the cave.
I think she saw him walk out of the cave, and
I don't know if that means he walked out of the cave.
I think that is actually proof of the mental illness, to be honest, because
Becca left.
Becca left.
Exactly.
And that was the other thing, was that the dad, like Tyler Durden, the dad was never in the same room when other people were around. Like he always waited until, like, he would take her away and they would be somewhere else, but he wouldn't just be like floating around like at the where other people could see him.
The one time we maybe saw times where he might have been in the same room, where like there was that episode 6, when it's like all from Camila and Sam's perspective.
Yes,
with the security guard one. And so like we never see Alma's perception of time shift in that one because it's not from her perspective. But we do see her talking to nothing, which we can assume is her talking to Jacob. So like we see her talking to Jacob, but it looks
I was
just
gonna
like
call him Justin. Thank you so much for. And I was like, that is not his name.
No,
oh my
worries.
God.
No worries.
I wrote a whole script about it, and I promise I called him Jacob at the time. I just blanked on it. Thank you.
I do think that she saw him walk out of the cave. I think that's the implication. I know it's meant to be up to interpretation, but I think and I do think that him walking out of the cave is further evidence that it's a mental issue, because as soon as Becca walked away, it was like the sunrise, and she's like, oh, there he is, and
now Dad's here.
Exactly.
Now that my sister's gone, the thing that I want to happen is happening. So.
But I also want to talk about real quick I love the conversation Becca had with her at the pyramid, which is so good, and it kind of paralleled the wedding conversation they had.
And it paralleled the conversation that they had the first time they went, when the mom was like, or it's just a bathtub, and bathtubs are nice too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's right.
It paralleled so many conversations. It was such a good tie-in for all of those conversations.
No doubt. I liked that the way Alma was able to help and talk down Becca from her crisis during the wedding. It was like, oh, the only person who can get through to Alma and actually be like, oh, you should probably take this medicine, was Becca, was her sister. Like everyone else who tried, Sam couldn't do it, her mom couldn't do it, Pastor couldn't do it.
I also thought that it was very interesting too, because what do you believe about the scene with the psychiatrist? Because the psychiatrist goes, you have PTSD, you can take these pills if you want to.
Right.
But then it turns out that they are antipsychotics, which is a very hardcore, you don't just write someone a script for Halidol for no reason.
Exactly.
That's not a thing.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that was a false memory that she created.
Which throws everything into question.
Which throws everything else into
question. Exactly. Oh, it's so much.
The show, y'all.
Oh, I know.
So Lauren does not think he walked out of the cave. She thinks that the sun just came up.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I feel like they're leaving it open for what they maybe would want to do with season 2. You know what I mean? Maybe if season 2 happened, she would see him walk out of the cave, and it would lead her to be like, I'm not taking the meds, and then it would just be going down a whole other spiral.
Like a whole other thing,
Exactly.
But then I wonder, though, if that was the direction that the show took, what is really the longevity of that?
True.
Because, they're just going to have her have another mental breakdown with no
it would have to
downtime
it would have to be bigger, or more it would have to have another layer or something.
It would have to have another layer. Maybe it would be something where, she would go to the rehab, but the whole time she was planning on breaking out so that she could, it would have to be something like that, where she went to treatment and got help, but she doesn't believe it, and she knows it's bullshit, so she's gonna time travel and get out of there, so I wonder if that's maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I know we're almost out of time, but the one thing I really
want
to talk about...
I'm sorry, I want to talk about this for another 9
so
hours,
hard.
and I also want to read all of your comments too. I'm so sorry we haven't been reading comments
because
we've been
much to talk about.
We've been
If you can stay
into this cave.
Yeah, I
hole.
can.
We'll have to leave.
Yeah.
We can
keep talking, apparently.
Cool, let's
Brett
hang
says
out. Brett says we can still keep hanging out. So
the one thing I really want to talk about is how Kate Purdy, who's a really great writer, she's a co-creator of this show, some of my favorite episodes of Bojack are ones that she wrote.
Right.
And a lot of them
Did she write Free Churro?
No, she didn't write Free Churro.
Oh,
but a lot of the ones she has written have to do with like time manipulative like portrayals of things,
That's so
and
cool.
also like mental illness and stuff. So like, so the first one that's crazy that you wrote was Downer Ending, which is where they started talking about this show. They said at the panel that after that episode, they were like, oh, let's start talking about like a show we would want to do. Maybe we want to do something like this. And it's an episode called Downer Ending. They do a bunch of drugs, and then Bojack,
is a downer.
It's crazy, and it just gets trippy and trippy. It's like them trying to rewrite his whole book on drugs, and he starts like running through all these crazy trippy sequences, and then he wakes up the next day, and it's just like, oh, he's waking up from his bender, and everything's fine now, and like Diane shows up and apologizes, and it's all good, and it turns out he's still tripping. It's only been 5 minutes, and like they were messing with and so they were just like messing with time the whole time, and so that was one of the things that like was like, oh, we should mess with time in our like shows. And then my 2 literal favorite episodes of the show are in season 4. There's one, and it takes place at this lake house, and Bojack goes to this lake house, and and it's like his family's old lake house, and half of the episode is Bojack dealing with like him staying at the lake house and talking to his neighbor and doing all this stuff, and the other half is flashing back to
I've seen that episode, yes.
It's really sad episode.
It is horrifically
it's a horrendously sad episode.
Dude, and that, I don't know if maybe this is why I don't like Bojack, because I've only ever watched like rando episodes.
Oh, you gotta watch
that.
it in order.
I know, but I don't, and then like it just makes me too depressed, and I'm
show.
like, I'm already maxed out on my Lexapro dose.
That's fair.
I can't take
very
more
fair.
Lexapro. No.
Yeah, I think that's a fair reason not to watch it, even though it's brilliant.
I'm sure it's great. No, I watched Free Churro, and I was very impressed.
Free Churro's cool.
The only problem that I did have with it was still just he's just such an unlikable person.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. That's the show.
I know, and I know that's the show.
Yeah.
But geez, at least she wrote this one. Alma was the most likable character.
Sure.
The mustache gag, I was like, that's something I would do.
I think you maybe would like Bojack a little better if you watch from the beginning.
Maybe.
And like he certainly is a nearly irredeemable character, but you also like when you get the full spectrum of his whole story, you're like there are things about him that you feel bad for him. You feel bad because he is a broken person, and and these people like to write shows about broken people.
They sure do. They
really
sure
do.
diggity do. Well,
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of, I mean, Leave It to Beaver probably wasn't as much fun to write, you know?
I don't think so.
Probably
No.
not. June
Someone
Cleaver wasn't as
someone
good of a
should reboot
character as
Leave It to
Alma.
Beaver, but he's
But
just
super dark.
super dark.
Yeah, Leave It Beaver is actually a goth kid
Yeah.
who like.
And then the last one she wrote that like really relates to this is called Time's Arrow, and it has to do with his mom.
Ooh, Time's Arrow.
And it's like his mom experiencing her whole past through the filter of Alzheimer's. And so like things in her memory are missing, but she still has memories, and it's like they're changed and slightly off, and like she keeps flashing between different parts of her life.
Oh, that's
and I'm like,
really
oh my gosh,
interesting.
this is like obviously she wrote this show after that.
Yeah,
like
for
obviously.
real.
But yeah, if you guys haven't watched Bojack, those are great episodes, but you should watch it all.
Okay, so now everyone's just talking about ketamine and mushrooms in
Oh,
the chat.
sorry, that was my fault. This is my fault.
Now we're gonna tell you, children, don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Don't do drugs.
Oh, they're saying it's PTSD treatment.
It's PTSD treatment, and
Okay.
it says
Doctor
they can
approved.
doctor approved, but only if you want to fall into a K-hole, you get a doctor to help you with that. Please don't do it on your own.
Doctor approved K-holes.
Doctor approved K-holes.
Oh, that's my new album.
It sure is. It sure is.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah, Lauren says Bojack's hard to watch. She agrees with you. The Schmuck says I can't watch Bojack. Tried the first episode. Oh, the first episode you thought was too depressing. Wow. Okay, then don't watch more.
Well, who
Don't
dang.
watch
The
more.
episode that I really like is the one where there's Pickles the pug, and she's just a pug with big tits, because that's
Dude,
how I
Pickles
see
is
myself
great.
in my head. I'm just like, in my brain, I'm a pug with big old titties.
Pickles is a funny character.
I
like
love
Pickles. She's really great.
I really like Pickles. And
Oh,
it's not
man.
just because I like pugs. I genuinely just like that character because she's so
funny.
dumb.
She is dumb.
I love her.
She's really dumb.
I
She's
love
just
the
like a
dumb
wannabe
cuties.
Instagram influencer, but she
Yes.
doesn't have like a bad bone in her body. She's
No,
just
she's
dumb.
just like really
Yeah,
sweet and
she's
nice.
sweet and dumb.
Which is why I think I like her, because I'm like, oh, look at this wonderful person on this show full of shitheads.
Yep.
I can't
True.
do it.
True. It is a show full of shitheads. That is accurate. It's a show of broken people.
Somebody says, get doctor to take you to Bat Country. Who's your doctor, Batman?
No, I think that's a reference to Fear and Loathing, right?
Oh, sorry. I was like, is your doctor Batman? Is he gonna trap you in the cave with his Batmobile? And that's how he's gonna treat your PTSD?
I'm Dr. Batman.
I'm Dr. Batman.
I think you need I'm gonna diagnose you with, here's a prescription for 300 milligrams of Lexapro. Dr. Batman.
The ketamine you need, but not the ketamine you deserve right now.
All right, Dr.
Sorry,
Batman.
I'm not as good
It's a new
at
movie.
Batman because
Maybe Robert Pattinson's playing Dr. Batman. We can only hope.
Dr. Batman.
Dr. Batman. Or it's just called Batman MD.
Wait, Batman MD. Yes.
Oh, that's great. All right, we're writing that. Let's see. What do we got here? Drugs are bad, VOE bad. David Roth-Lutner.
He likes pickle sandwiches.
I like pickles in general.
I love pickles.
I really love pickles.
I love a good pickle.
I need to go eat after this. Now I'm gonna.
No, I'm
eat
getting
some
so
pickles.
hungry.
Yeah, me too.
I'm getting literally, you guys.
Final thoughts.
If the only reason
Any final thoughts? Any final thoughts on Undone?
My mind is blank. I don't like anything about that
Yeah.
show. I couldn't tell you a single thing about it. Just kidding. Yeah.
Right. Welcome to Nerdflix and Chill.
Welcome to Nerdflix and Chill.
We just rewound time.
We just
We're starting
rewound
over
time. We're
again.
starting over again, and now we hate it. This is an alternate timeline where
Yep.
we didn't like the show.
All right,
No.
now do this for a half hour.
Now do this for half an hour.
It was bad. It didn't make sense. It didn't need to be rotoscoped. It doesn't make sense. I don't get it. Nope.
I don't get it.
Is
Who
she time
cares?
traveling? Is she crazy?
Is she?
Why would they just tell us?
You know what I think it is? I think she just hit her head too hard in that car accident,
probably
and that
right.
she's probably just in a coma.
Yep.
And this is all her coma
It's
dream.
all a
she
coma.
never woke up. It's
Totally.
only a coma, and she has a twin sister, and her twin sister cheated on my roommate with my roommate's boyfriend and my boyfriend, and now that's the soap opera.
Damn, that is a crazy soap
It really
opera. You should write a
is.
script on that.
I need to just write a movie because I've
Or
also been hit by a semi truck.
Yeah, you should implement that
That
and that story into the Dr. Batman script.
Oh, into the Dr. Batman
Dr.
script.
Batman.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes,
This is
I
going to be
will.
a great script.
Dude, I
what-
love Dr. Batman now. Did you know that Dr. Batman is my favorite Batman? It's
I
not
didn't.
Christian Bale. It's not
Doc-
Michael Keaton. It's not George Clooney. It's just Dr. Batman.
Batman MD.
Batman MD. Sorry, I'm never getting over that.
All right. Well, maybe
Ever.
we should probably just talk about the things we loved about the show and then sign off, right? Is that
Yes.
what we're gonna do?
Okay, so I loved the animation, the
So good.
rotoscopes,
Yeah.
the acting, the extreme sensitivity to mental illness in
Well
a
done.
funny, intelligent, cool way
Really cool.
that didn't put anyone down,
Totally.
that didn't make anybody feel lesser, but honestly made you feel like maybe if you're crazy, you just have superpowers.
Right?
And I
Exactly.
would love that.
That would be cool.
If I'm crazy, I want superpowers.
Why did I start going to therapy for my
Why did I
anxiety?
start going?
If I could have just gotten superpowers.
Let's
from
just
them?
throw
That's the
away. Let's
question.
throw away our Xanax. Let's throw away our Lexapro. Let's start time traveling
Yeah,
together.
perfect. I think the show has had a positive effect on us.
It sure has. Let's derail our whole lives and go to Mexico. What do
Perfect.
you
Let's
say?
do it. Sounds great.
Let's
This is gonna be
let's
fun.
find our dads in a cave.
Oh.
And anyways, kids, this
is really
has
good.
been Nerdflix and Chill.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
Dude, John, thank you so much for coming back.
thanks for bringing me back.
This is the best thing ever. I really want you to come on more. You're just my favorite person.
Have me on whenever you want.
I'm just gonna
You
kidnap
guys lucked
you.
out because you asked me to come on the 2 shows that I was most anticipating this
excited
year. Yeah,
about.
for sure. So this worked out real well.
Where can we find you?
Oh yeah. I gotta plug things.
I want to find him.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you can follow me on Twitter at Pair of Cellos.
Pair of cellos.
Aforementioned last name. You can watch my YouTube stuff at Johnny Two Cellos on YouTube. I don't have my Undone review up yet because it's really long.
It's
and I have
okay.
to
You
cut
can
it
you
down.
can watch mine until
Yeah.
John's is ready.
Mine will probably go up tomorrow.
And then you just switch
Maybe.
over to John's after
Yes.
you watch mine.
Yes, watch them both.
Watch them
and
both
then watch
back
them both
to back,
again.
and then watch both of them again, and then donate to our Patreons.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, hopefully you can see me on this eventually another time.
Yeah,
You
you'll
can-
be back. Don't worry.
Cool. Looking forward to that. And then I also have my weird show on caffeine.
Sorry.
My weird show on caffeine.tv, live from the 8th Dimension, which is super fun. It's like a
Ooh.
live improvised animated talk show, but also a sci-fi comedy that's narrative. I was doing that right before I came here. You guys should check it out. I know it sounds like nonsense, but just watch it. and you'll
Listen,
kind of
he
understand.
time travels. This is actually Bob Odenkirk, ladies and gentlemen. He's just time traveled to the 8th dimension,
Yes.
and now he looks like this. This is the universe where Bob Odenkirk looks like
Yeah, where
this
he
and
has
has
long,
luscious
straight
hair.
hair. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful
I
man.
need a trim though. It's getting long. Getting a trim. Need
No,
a trim soon. Yeah.
just like a little
Yeah.
split ends cleanup.
Yep. Yeah. I like it like right around to my shoulders.
Oh,
I think
that's
is the
like
right.
a collarbone length.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just,
it's perfect.
Just kissing the collarbone.
That's right.
Just barely wisping it.
That's right. Well, please look at my YouTube channel.
Yeah, do that. We would love that. Bye, you guys. Thank you so much for coming to Nerdflix and Chill.
Thanks. It was so fun.
It was fun. Nah.